Hello, it's Mr. Turek again. I'm going to go over fonts in Yearbook Avenue. So under the plan page, certain editors and the advisor will have access to this fonts page here. And under here we can sort of like turn on and turn off access to certain fonts. You should have access to a PDF and the project file folders that like gives you a preview of all these different fonts. So from here we can sort of organize and take a look at these fonts if we want to add them or remove them from our spreads. So I've added a couple of fonts here, and I'm going to go to Create Page Designer. And I'm just going to show you how to use some of the basic font stuff in here, applying text, different fonts to text, and so on and so forth. So if you wanna add a new text box, it's this button right here, and there's a couple options in the drop-down menu. There's the page number icon, which we're going to add this to our master page, so you don't really need to worry about this. And then there's type on a path options like arc and circle. And I guess you can use these, but they're not great and they're kind of clumsy. And yeah, I really would prefer if you just did these or asked me how to do these in Illustrator or some other program where you have a bit more flexibility and control, and just use your type box for most of your type design. So when you click, you get this sort of default text size box thing, and it's filled with Lorem Ipsum placeholder text. Don't worry about that. That's just for design purposes, just to see what a group of text looks like. Your text box works pretty straightforward. You can click and drag and move it around, resize it. Again, down here in your XYWH panel, you can sort of manually adjust the size of something. So if you want it to be 15 by 15 picas, you can just manually enter that, and that'll give you a nice square. Over here in the Format tab, this is where you're going to have control over what font this is. If you have the box just selected and you change the font over here, it'll just automatically change all of the type for you. If you just want, like, let's say we just want this top paragraph to be one font and the bottom paragraph to be a different font, you just highlight, click and drag, and just change that font. The problem with this is that as soon as you click on this, and if you have the box selected and you just reapply something else, it automatically cancels all those overrides. So you got to be careful when you do that. Another thing that you notice right there is when you click off of it, if you have any overset text, it'll let you know with that red X, which again is kind of helpful. You can change the point size in here, pretty straightforward. You can change the color of the font right here. You can change how it's oriented, left, right, center. You can turn on bold, italic, all that stuff. And you can apply styles, which I'll get into a little bit later. And your line spacing is down here. Why this is a slider, I do not know. It's just, yeah, again, there's a lot of things about this that are super janky. And having a slider for line spacing is right up there with, like, I don't know why you would have that. You can just have a number right there. Up here at the very top, you have your stroke and fill options. And this is going to apply to the actual box. So if we want this box to have a stroke on it, we can give it a color. And we can turn up the point value there. And for some reason that is affecting the margins of the type, so be kind of careful. Cannot individually apply the margins inside of these boxes, so I'm going to highly recommend that you not use these options at all. This is when you would combine text with the shape. So we're going to get rid of that stroke by clicking None. And if we want an actual box around this that isn't around the exact edges of it, we're going to make ourselves a new rectangle. We're going to take it over here. We're going to make it pretty big. We are going to send it all the way to the back. We're going to give it a black stroke. We're going to set the fill to none. And that's how we're going to give this an outline that is not right up on the edges of it. And this is just like a super extra annoying step. And now we have these two objects, and we could group them. But again, that's probably how I want you to do this sort of design, is make a separate shape. Another thing about type is text wrapping. Text wrapping is really finicky. If you have a shape, you're going to have to apply text wrap to the element, and then you're going to have to turn that on for the text that you want to wrap around that shape. So for this, we're going to check mark text wrapping, and because this shape has text wrapping turned on, it's gonna do text wrapping. And you can change how it behaves over here, but honestly, like the fact that this is a two-part process, and yeah, I don't know why it's in the shape and not in the text. Like that also doesn't make much sense, but whatever. Another thing for text is text threading. Text threading is this little orange icon down here. You'll notice that when my cursor hovers over it, it turns into a plus sign. Let's say if we have text over here and we want to continue it over here, we can just click on that little arrow, and it'll just automatically create this like extra box with the overset text and a little dotted line to kind of show you how they're connected. This is how you're going to do two columns. If I shrink this, it'll automatically flow over to that. Yeah, and that's pretty much all there is to type. The last couple things here are things that I wouldn't want you to necessarily always do in Yearbook Avenue, but you can do in Yearbook Avenue. So if I add a new text box, we're going to put it up here. We're going to make this our title. And we're going to make it real big. So 54, yay. And we're going to change the font to a really heavy font. Turn up that size a little bit more. There we go. This is something you can do with an image. Okay, so I have this random image. If you click and drag that to your type, you ought to be able to put it inside your type. Right now, for some reason, it's not working because Yearbook Avenue is, yeah, Jesus. For some reason, this like totally worked earlier. Now it doesn't. But essentially, you can see I'm trying to click and drag this over here. If you have a large enough image, it will fill in this text here and automatically mask it for you. I'll also show you how to do this on Photoshop. Yeah, here, maybe we can Nope. Still. Oh my God. Okay, figured it out. So, if your thing is too large, or if your box is bigger than your image, it just won't work. It has to be green. And there we go. Hey, look at that. So, for some reason, now it'll work. Now I can add. Oh my God. Just like I don't even know why wouldn't you just let me like edit that in there. I don't even know how to get back to the image at this point. This is frustrating. So, lesson learned, don't do it this way. Just do this in Photoshop. Honestly, do it in Photoshop, output it as a ping file or a TIFF file, and like don't use Justin's thing, because holy crap, this is frustrating as all hell. Oh my God. I don't even know.